Imagine you are standing on the brink of death. Your body is nothing more than a literal skeleton, weighing a mere 38 kilograms, the weight of a 10-year-old child. You have been starved for 8 months, tortured, and surrounded by the electrified barbed wire of Nazi Germany's most secret military facility. Before you stands a Heinkel He-111, a 14-ton sky monster, a heavy bomber with a wingspan of over 22 meters. It is a machine that requires 2 well-trained pilots to operate. You have never touched its controls. Every button is labeled in German, a language you don't know a single word of. And you have exactly 47 minutes to steal it, bypass Europe's densest air defense system, and fly toward freedom. This is not a script from a fictional Hollywood action movie. This is the story of Mikhail Devyatayev, prisoner number 104534. This is the story of the most unthinkable escape in human history. It is a feat so great that his own country tried to bury it for 12 years. Welcome to the journey from earthly hell to radiant glory of a man who proved that when human will reaches its limit, even the laws of physics must bow. In the summer of 1944, World War II was at its fiercest stage. Mikhail Devyatayev was no ordinary prisoner. He was a Soviet Air Force ace with 17 confirmed victories. He had been awarded 2 Orders of the Red Banner, symbols of supreme bravery and flying skill. But fate struck in July that year over the skies of Lviv. In a suffocating dogfight, his Yak-1 fighter was hit by a German Focke-Wulf. The engine burst into flames, and the cockpit filled with black smoke. Devyatayev bailed out at 2,000 feet and fell straight into enemy hands. To the Nazis, an elite pilot like Devyatayev was a valuable asset for interrogation. But to Devyatayev, being captured meant the start of a new war. He tried to escape 3 times. 3 times he was caught and brutally beaten. By the 3rd time, the Nazis lost patience. They classified him as a dangerous saboteur and sent him to Sachsenhausen, the death camp. There, 30,000 prisoners were crammed into damp barracks, with death rates reaching 800 a month. The diet was a mere 700 calories a day. Average life expectancy was 4 months. From a tall, healthy pilot, Devyatayev became a wandering ghost weighing 38 kilos. But in the sunken eyes of prisoner 104534, the fire of the sky never went out. In October 1944, a chance appeared. The Nazis needed skilled prisoners for a secret facility. Devyatayev volunteered immediately. His destination was Peenemünde on Usedom Island, the heart of Nazi rocket technology. It was an impregnable fortress, but for a pilot, it had something more precious than gold: a runway and airplanes. Devyatayev was assigned to the forced labor crew maintaining the runway. While others bowed in resignation, he performed secret reconnaissance. He studied everything: flight schedules, guard positions, and how engineers checked engines. He noticed a Heinkel He-111 with the code GA, the private plane of the base's deputy commander. It was always fueled and ready. But there was a massive barrier. Devyatayev was a single-engine fighter pilot. The E-111 was a heavy twin-engine bomber with over 100 switches in German. How could he fly it? Extreme observation. Every time a Heinkel prepared for takeoff, Devyatayev pretended to work nearby to watch the German pilot's hands. He memorized the sequence: switch this first, pull that later. In his mind, he flew the He-111 1,000 times before ever touching it. He recruited 9 other prisoners, men who were nothing but shadows of their former selves. They planned to walk straight onto the runway in broad daylight, steal the bomber, and fly away. The enemy will not guard what they think is impossible, Devyatayev realized. February 8th, 1945, a misty morning at Peenemünde. At 12:15 p.m., while their lone guard was distracted, the group acted. A decisive strike with a shovel, and the guard fell silently. One prisoner put on the guard's uniform. They moved toward the Heinkel GA. Their hearts pounded so hard they felt their chests might burst. When they reached the plane, they quickly neutralized two German mechanics. Devyatayev climbed into the cockpit. The smell of fuel and leather hit him. Before him was a maze of metal. He sat in the pilot's seat, his thin legs trembling. He began the memorized sequence: prime fuel, ignition. Nothing happened. Sirens began to wail in the distance. The guards had found the body. "Start it! Mikhail, please!" his comrades urged in panic. Devyatayev closed his eyes for a second, searching his memory. Batteries. He found the main power switch and flipped it. The instrument panel lit up. The left engine coughed, spat black smoke, and roared to life. The right engine followed. The 14-ton machine began to move. He struggled with the brakes, but managed to steer toward the runway. A truck full of German soldiers was charging toward them, machine guns firing. Now was the life-or-death moment. The Heinkel needed at least 140 km/h to lift off. It required about 23 kN of pull force on the control yoke to lift the nose. Remember, Mikhail weighed only 30 kg. His muscles had withered. As the plane roared down the runway, Devyatayev pulled the yoke with all his strength. It didn't move. The runway was running out. Ahead was the barbed wire and the cold Baltic Sea. "Help me!" Devyatayev screamed. Two comrades lunged forward, three men clinging to the yoke, straining with the final tattered strength of their lives. The yoke began to move inch by inch. Then, a miracle. The nose lifted, and the wheels left the ground just as the runway ended. At 12:21 p.m., the Heinkel GA, carrying 10 souls from the dead, soared into the gray German sky. They flew through anti-aircraft fire and dodged German fighters. In the cabin, they hugged each other, sobbing. They had escaped hell, but they were flying a Nazi-marked plane toward their own lines. As they approached Soviet territory, their own anti-aircraft batteries opened fire. Shells tore through the fuselage. An engine caught fire. Devyatayev managed a belly landing in a snowy field. They staggered out of the wreck in tattered prisoner rags, shouting, "We are Soviets! Don't shoot!" You might think this is a happy ending, but the reality was more brutal. This was Stalin's era. Any prisoner who survived was considered a traitor or a spy. Instead of medals, Devyatayev was thrown into NKVD interrogation rooms. How did you steal a secret Nazi plane? Who helped you? You're a spy, aren't you? The truth was stamped secret. Mikhail was stripped of his rank and sent to a disciplinary unit to keep fighting until the end of the war. After 1945, his fate didn't improve. He returned to Kazan but was shunned by society as a former prisoner. For 12 years, the man who performed history's greatest escape worked as a dock loader to feed his family. Meanwhile, his information about the V2 rocket sites helped the Soviets destroy that base. His data laid the foundation for their space program. The turning point came in 1957. Sergei Korolev, the father of the Soviet space program, realized the value of the intel Devyatayev had provided. Korolev pressured the government to recognize him. On August 15, 1957, Mikhail Devyatayev was finally awarded the Hero of the Soviet Union, the highest honor. He became an immortal symbol of courage. Mikhail Devyatayev's story is proof of the terrifying power of hope. He proved that a 38-kilo body can lift a 14-ton machine if it contains a will of steel. He died in 2002 at age 85. If you ever feel stuck, remember the man in that Heinkel cockpit. Your difficulties are likely nothing compared to Nazi guns. Keep fighting, because your runway is still ahead of you. Thank you for watching. See you in the next extraordinary story.